Thank you, Simon. It is a great pleasure for me to be invited by the Wellington Lodge to share my thoughts about this important topic, the challenges and the tasks for the Theosophical Society and its members. In fact, I have been reading the Mahatma letters, and one thing that is always in my thoughts is why the Mahatmas inspire Blavatsky and Alcott to found the Theosophical Society 150 years ago. And well, what is for us now? And what did they want for the Theosophical Society when they prepared Blavatsky for 24 years for her to be the main transmitter of some thoughts? And well, what was the purpose of all of that? So my talk will be based mainly on quotes of the Mahatma letters, not only, but mainly, specifically what they wanted, what they want for the Theosophical Society and what they want for us now, because 150 years after, we are still here working for this Theosophical task, trying to carry the torch ahead. And well, so I will share some thoughts. I have the quotes are always specified here. Here is Synod, a letter 18, but there was a previous edition of the Mahatma letters, not the chronological one, by Travel Baker, and I put the number here. So it is Synod letter 18, Travel Baker letter number 9. So all the thoughts will have their quotes, their sources here. So there is a thought that is there on letter 18, and I give a name for the quotes, especially for it to be easier for me to find them after, and to like a synthesis of the thought that was presented in the quote. So this continent of thought, it goes like that. For countless generations, the adept built a temple of imperishable rocks, a gigant tower of infinite thought, to invite the elect of mankind to cooperate with him, and to help in turn to enlighten superstitious men. And we, in case the Mahatmas, will continue with our regular work until the day when the foundations of a new continent of thought are so firmly established that no amount of opposition and ignorant malice guided by the brethren of the shadow will be found to prevail. But until that day of final triumph, someone has to sacrifice themselves. We only accept voluntary victims. So, what is what is the meaning of this quote? I put long, big letters, so so it takes several slides. In fact, um, for me, my understanding is that the work of the Theosophical Society is their work, is the work of the Mahatmas. And they are building what they called huge tower of infinite thought. Well, they are building, but they are also asking us to cooperate with them because there are a lot of superstitions and superstitions that make people blind. So, to enlighten the superstitious people, and they will do their work, and also um, when this tower of thought is not complete, the brothers of the shadow uh, somehow help to create superstitions. Well, so, but there will be a moment where this conception, this paradigm is so firmly established that these brothers of the shadow will not be able to prevail anymore. But of course, this work for countless generations, for centuries, this work will is on the run. It is being built. And well, when it's not ready yet, why they accept only voluntary victims? Well, because the brothers of the shadow will attack the ones that are trying to cooperate with the Mahatmas in this building of this tower of infinite thought. So it is for us to put ourselves at disposal of this work, and it is sure that we'll be attacked by the brothers of the shadow. We have to uh, prepare ourselves to find opposition, and they only accept voluntary victims because uh, they will not force us to do anything. We have to volunteer ourselves to this work if we find that these ideas presented by the Theosophical Society, if they have any meaning, if they help humanity, well, so for me, this quote is very important to show that the work has been built for centuries, and we may help them, or we may just watch, or we may even not pay attention to it, right? Well, but there is a project, and they want to attract the attention of high minds, and very clear that in working not only for the Theosophical Society, but for the Theosophical cause, let's say it like that. We are attracting people, we are showing people these ideas, and they say like that. The chiefs want the beginning of a brotherhood of humanity, a true universal brotherhood, an institution that is known throughout the world and attracts the attention of the highest minds. Why so? Why the highest minds could be attracted to the theosophical ideas? Well, because the highest minds, they influence the rest of society. It's like a domino. When uh, one person influences the other, and what we are trying to do is somehow change the collective mentality of our time. And the ones that um, help to change the mentality of our times are exactly the higher minds. And why brotherhood of humanity? Well, we know that the first object of the Theosophical Society is to form a nucleus of the brotherhood of humanity. Why it is so important that we are linked to each other. Well, here I am in Brazil, 15 hours difference from you, but we are united in the spirit of brotherhood. And well, I can mention Sushma and Simon. They are really my brother and my sister. Well, because we work in brotherhood. And in letter number 12, there is a quote that shows, and I call this quote, body and limbs fighting. And it says, the body uncared for suffers eternally, whether the limbs are at war or at rest. Its suffering and agony never ceases. Let's think. If we hurt our feet, can our mind be okay? No. Or if, well, anything that happens to a part of a body affects the whole system. And we are cells of this body called humanity. So we should care that the several parts are united, working in harmony, working in peace, because, well, that's how together we may be able to have some inspiration from the Mahatmas, because we are still children in this work. We are still children in our development. Well, I don't know about you, I know about me. And most people that I know, we are children trying to uh, grow up and become more and more brother and sister to our, well, there is a word that it's used now, uh, giblings or I don't know very well this word. Well, together, united, we can somehow get the inspirations of these Mahatmas that guide humanity. And as I said before, the work is not ours, the work is theirs. We are volunteers to help them in their work to push humanity forward. So that's why we have to get the means of benefiting humanity. I found that quote in a book from Sri Ram, and I thought it was the words of Sri Ram, but then I found them also in the Mahatma letters, and it says like that. Emit the most divine emanations of Atma, which proceed from that divine feeling, the love of mortal man for his fellow man, and in its most high spiritual expression, and concentrating, find the means to benefit humanity through the practical applications of the Zephyriot. Well, find the means to benefit humanity. We are still children. We are not able to bless humanity all the time. But even as children, we may find the means to benefit humanity. And there is a practical application of this ancient wisdom here described as the Zephirot. Zephirot is the Kabbalah, and there is a lot of knowledge that was brought by religions, by science, by philosophy, and this should have a practical application. That's how we are studying this ancient knowledge and finding the means to benefit humanity. Because, well, there is a transcendental divine life. Yes, and we all have to get rid of our own ego, the illusory and apparent self, to recognize our true self in a transcendental divine life. So we have to go forward to, well, forward is a way of saying, inside is another way of saying, higher is another way of saying, but there is a transcendental divine life. And for that, we have to get rid of our own small things, our own habits, our own material attachments, and so on. And when we go beyond our material condition, our apparent self, we may get glimpses, start to get glimpses of this transcendental divine life. This is part of our own development. But if we are not selfish, we must strive to make other people see this truth and recognize the reality of this transcendental being, the Buddha, Christ, or God of every preacher. So what they want us to be like monitors. They want us to be helpers of the teachers. We are still students, but we may help other students to recognize this reality, this transcendental self, and we may call it Buddha, Christ, God, oh, some Peter, or whatever name we want. Um, so it's a double task. It's a task for ourselves to get rid of our own ego, to recognize this transcendental divine life, but not only for ourselves. We must strive to help others to see also this transcendental being. Yes. So I always say that, well, in normal cases, we walk with two legs. Of course, there are people uh, that have to manage to do otherwise. But in normal ways, we walk with two legs. And one leg is called self-development. The other leg is called sacrifice. It's called helping others. So one, if we don't develop ourselves, we cannot give what we don't have. But if we get only for ourselves, we are not doing the task they want from us. Because what characterizes the theosophy, the theosophist, that's in the very first letter that Sinnett and Hume received. And they say, what characterizes the true theosophy is the dedication to the selfless search for the best means to guide others along the right path, benefiting as many of our fellow men as possible. Yes, to guide, to be able to guide others, well, we have to develop ourselves. Otherwise, as the saying says, well, I don't know how to say it in English, but well, the idea is that if we are blind, we take others to the ditch together with us. So we have to open our eyes to be able to guide others to the right path. And somehow, this instructions, these ideas that are not dogmas, but inspiring ideas, they guide us in the right path. Uh, the Voice of the Silence says that it's a book of instructions because there are dangers on the way. So we have instructions to guide ourselves along the right path. But what they expect from us, what characterizes the true theosophy, is this dedication to guide others also, not only ourselves, and benefiting as many human beings as possible. Because we are opinion trainers. There is a mission. Oh, I have many years of membership of the Theosophical Society. I was born in a Theosophical family. And even when, before I was a member, I was there as a child. Yes. And one thing that I have noticed is that if you don't have a philosophical type of mind, well, not you. If a person that doesn't have a philosophical mind comes to the TS and says, oh, very good, very beautiful, but goes away. The ones that stay are the ones that want to understand, are the ones that want to think. Uh, we are, that's why we read so much, that's why we study so much. And so we are part of the highest minds that are in humanity. We may not be so rich, so powerful, and not even so pure, but certainly we like to think. We like to think by ourselves. We like to understand. And doing so, we become opinion trainers. And Sinet, the one that received most of the letters, he was surely an opinion trainer. He was a journalist. He was the most popular journalist in India at that time when the Theosophical Society moved to India. And letter number 1 shows the mission that Synod had. And it says, this imposes upon you the sacred duty of educating the public and preparing it for future possibilities. Gradually open its visions to the truth. Well, Synod, as a journalist, his mission was to write in the newspaper and to write books. Well, not all of us, well, I am not a journalist. I am a retired lawyer. Well, what is my duty? Is to write books? Maybe not. But it's part of this sacred duty of educating the public, preparing for future possibilities. And, well, I humbly say that my mission is to give talks, and I'm very happy that the Wellington Lodge invited me to come to share these thoughts, because it's part of educating the public, educating myself when I study these ideas, when I try to see what is the purpose of the Theosophical Society, what did the Mahatmas wanted for the Theosophical Society when it was founded, and what do they want for us now? Because the Theosophical Society is a project that is going on. And they say, try it out and work with the material you have first, and then we'll be the first to help you to get new evidence. Well, we have to try. We have to try with the material we have. And as we go deeper and deeper, some other things will be more clear to us. And what is very obvious is that the light must reach other minds. It's not only for us. That was said to Sinet, but that is completely true for us. If we see some light, we must share it with others so that it reaches other minds. And letter 43 says, there is still much to happen. So far, they were talking about to Sinet, have only noticed the light of a new day. But if you make an effort, you can see, with the help of Kutumi, the midday sun when it reaches its meridian. But you have to work for it, and work so that this light reaches other minds through yours. Of course, well, I don't know if it's of course for you, but it's of course for me. Uh, it was not, as far as I know, with the help of Kutumi, but certainly I saw the lights of a new day. And this can go further. And for it to go further, this light has to reach other minds. Well, why so? And there is a quote that I call solitary pearls, jewelers. Yes, is that there are a lot of confusion. And the quote says like that: the result would be that most valuable clues would not reach the mind of truth seekers. Because a solitary pearl, it soon disappears into a pile of fake diamonds when there is no jeweler to draw attention to its value. So, well, I think they want us to become jewelers. The jeweler possesses all the richness, all the jewels of the world? No. But he can recognize what's a diamond from what is a piece of glass. So that's why they want the higher minds that will be able to discern what is fake, what is true. Maybe we are still in the process of developing ourselves, and we are not, well, completely pure yet. But we can recognize what is important to what is not. So, a solitary pearl get mixed into a lot of pieces of glass. And that's what happens with the human culture. Truths are mixed with fake ideas, and of course we have to develop ourselves to be able to recognize what is a pearl to what is fake. Well, there is an alphabet of truth, and maybe we are learning this alphabet. Well, I usually say that the ABC of truth is karma, reincarnation, and evolution. Well, Blavatsky in the Key to Theosophy says karma, reincarnation, and unity of life. Because evolution, for you to become very rich and very powerful, possessing a lot of guns, well, that's not really evolution. Evolution is what tends us to the unity of life. So there is a reward for you to learn and to help others to learn the alphabet of truth. It says like that: if your efforts teach the world even a single letter of the alphabet of truth, of that truth that once permeated the entire world, your reward will inevitably reach. Well, yes, we must learn the alphabet of truth, ABC. They are not saying X, Y, and Z. They are saying ABC. Simple truths. Yes. And there is self-knowledge needed for that. It's not only reading, it's transforming the knowledge we have into wisdom. Maybe not the highest wisdom, but the wisdom that is available to us. And they say, anyone who wants to know how to benefit humanity and believes that he is able to identify the character of other people, he must first of all begin to learn how to know himself, to realize the true value of his own character. And it's also significant that sometimes we may be not able to find the truth. And in letter 33, they explain how it is so. We are now in the midst of people in conflict, an ignorant and stubborn people who seek to know truth, but they do not find it because each one seeks it for personal benefit and gratification without thinking about others. Well, this shows that the more we help others, the more we are helped. And if we seek only for ourselves, we may not be able to find it. So it's a process, being helped by these teachings and help others also to get whatever it's possible. Of course, this will not be done in one day. We must persevere and have patience. And they say to Synod and to us, may the prospect of a fuller introduction into our mysteries under more favorable circumstances, the materialization of which depends entirely on you, may give you patience to wait, perseverance to continue the effort, and full preparation to receive the blessed fulfillment of all your desires. So it will not happen tomorrow morning. It's a process of patience, perseverance, effort. Well, but it has its reward. Well, they also say to synods and to the people of that time that there is the need of preparing the intellect. And that's maybe one reason why they want the highest minds. They want philosophical people who like thinking, who like getting to ideas in a free way. Yes. And quote goes like that. The only thing you can do is prepare the intellect, the impetus for the culture of the soul must be given by the individual. And thrice happy are those who break the vicious circle of modern influence and rise above the mist. So the mentality of our times creates a virtual circle. And to be able to improve the mentality of our time, well, we must slowly, with perseverance, be able to break this vicious circle of modern influence and go beyond. Is it going to be easy? Probably not. But they say we have one word for all the aspirants. Try. Well, keep on trying. Keep on trying. Keep on trying. Because the veil of Isis, not my veil, but the veil of the veil of the human culture was done only a little bit. And that's also one reason why we must not take the teachings in a dogmatic way, because only general lines were given. And it is said in letter 62, the veil of Isis was not removed, but rents sufficiently large were made to afford fitting glances to be completed by the student's own intuition. So only general guidelines were given to be completed by our own intuition. So just repeat the teachings like a parrot, just not enough, not enough. We have to develop capacities and lucidity. Well, it's available. It is possible through effort, perseverance. They say, you want to acquire skills? Get to work and try to develop lucidity. The latter is not a gift, but the universal possibility common to all. Yes? That will enable us to get less and less mistaken, to get less and less eluded by things, transitory things that don't last and will inevitably frustrate us. So keep on. It's a universal possibility. Also, one idea that I find very important, that I call concrete and abstract, is that something that we have to be careful, because if we put things so concrete and so dogmatic, well, we may create the dogmas. And they say, there is always a danger, I think, of seeing our ideas replaced by concrete and false images in the minds of our readers. You can convey to them only the relative truth, not the absolute, and you will have done the public a great service. Because, well, otherwise it becomes new dogmas, new illusions, new prejudices. Of course, it is the task of all of us to develop ourselves, controlling our involuntary powers. And the quote goes like that. Learn our law first, or our laws first, and educate your perceptions, dear brother. Control your involuntary powers. Develop your will in the right direction, and you will become a master rather than a learner. And, well, it may take a lot of time, but it doesn't matter. Kutumi says, I would not reject what I have the right to teach. However, I had to study for 15 years before getting to the doctrines of the cycles. And at first, and I had to learn simpler things. Oh, Kutumi had to take 15 years to get to the doctrine of the cycles. He had to learn simpler things first. Isn't it so with us also? Yes, I don't think that we must have just superficial ideas. But the simpler we get, the easiest to put them into practice and not to create other conflict with us. Another thing that I think it's important is what I call mixed theosophy. Yes. Sometimes we want to be so pure in our understanding of the theosophical teachings that we lose the essential, simple things. And they say, once our doctrines are taught, even if mixed with foreign material, great progress will have been made. And well, I'm getting to the end, and there is a letter received by Francesca Arundale, letter number 20 from Gina Rajadasa's first series, where Master Kutumi gives her some advice, some pieces of advice that I think that are completely fit for all of us. And he says, daughter of your race and of your time, take up the diamond pen and write on the pages of your life a story of noble deeds, of days well lived, of years of selfless effort. In this way, you will always be working your way towards the higher planes of spiritual consciousness. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Be faithful to the ideal that you can now only vaguely see. So, shall we take the diamond pen and write in the white pages of our lives days of noble living, and so on. It's for us to choose. No one will impose. As they said, they only accept voluntary victims. Of course, we will be attacked by the opposite forces that tend to keep on the habits that we have acquired. But they have one word for all of us: try. Take the diamond pen and try.